Today I saw Love and Mercy. I kind of feel like I have a lot to say about this movie and also nothing to say about this movie. Because in a way I kind of don't feel like I'm qualified to talk about it, maybe. But just some of the small things I wanted to say. I thought Paul Dano was fantastic in it. John Cusack was okay. I mean, he basically kind of felt like John Cusack, but a little bit better than usual. And I love Paul Giamatti. Seeing him in this made me want to see a Big Fat Liar 2 for some reason. Now I really want that movie to exist. I don't know why. Maybe just because, like, how he was kind of angry in this movie. Yeah, I just realized both Paul Dano and Paul Giamatti are in 12 Years a Slave, too. But they don't interact in that movie. And they're both named Paul. And they both play assholes in that movie. I guess most of the characters in 12 Years a Slave are assholes. Besides, of course, the slaves. Anyway. Oh, Elizabeth Banks was also in this. She was okay. I don't know, I guess I could just never take her 100% seriously. She always comes off as somewhat comedic to me. I mean, not funny, but like she's delivering a funny line. Because she kind of feels the same in most of her movies as she does in her comedy movies. She's always Elizabeth Banks, pretty much. I mean, that might be an overstatement. But even in The Hunger Games, she kind of felt like a little bit more flamboyant version of Elizabeth Banks. I mean, John Cusack is usually just John Cusack, I guess, so. And in this, he was like John Cusack, but with mental issues. Meanwhile, like I said, with Paul Dano, he really captured the character, I think. I don't know what it is about Paul Dano, but I think maybe he's a really good actor. I mean, I saw Swiss Army Man last year, and it's already one of my favorite movies. Which I know most people are saying anyway, so whatever. I feel better about saying that if everyone else wasn't already saying it. But anyway, for a lot of the movie, it felt like two different movies to me. Like, I didn't even associate Paul Dano's Brian Wilson and John Cusack's Brian Wilson in my head. I know they're playing the same character, but it just didn't feel the same to me. Except for that they had the same hallucinations, I guess. Speaking of the hallucinations, this movie did a really good job of taking the Beach Boys songs and making them sound like nightmares. I don't know who was in charge of that part of the movie, but like right within the first few minutes or seconds of the movie, you just hear a bunch of Beach Boys songs stacked together in this nightmarish mess. And it's actually amazing. I should actually say the Beach Boys used to be my favorite band before Huey Lewis and the News. Now I consider them to be my favorite boy band. But this movie made me appreciate them a lot more. And vice versa, me loving the Beach Boys, I think, made me appreciate this movie a lot more. Right, I was saying how the movie felt like two different movies put together. That's how I felt for most of the movie, but by the end, I guess I can see why they did it like they did. I mean, I can't really, but I think it worked, so okay, I guess. I mean, I'm not a director or a writer or anything, so all I can do is share my thoughts. But I can't know what they were thinking when they decided to have the movie be split into these two distinct sections that they would go back and forth between. And for a lot of it, I was thinking they might have been better off if they had just made a movie about one of those two sections. But yeah, by the end, I guess I can appreciate it. I gave this movie a 7 out of 10, which I think is a pretty good rating. In fact, I think it's the highest rating I've given to a movie so far this year. Everything else has been a lot of 6.5s. And of course, Sharknado 2, the second one, I gave it 2 because that movie was absolute garbage. I just wanted to talk about a few specific moments in the movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, shut off the video now. I actually recommend you watch this movie because it's really good. I'm not going to put it on my recommendations list for the year, but yeah, I would recommend it. So, okay, spoilers. I think mainly I wanted to address the part right near the end where they basically recreated the ending to 2001: A Space Odyssey. That was so weird. Okay, like, I have no idea where that came from. This is obviously, like, not a normal movie. Has some strange visuals here and there and stuff like that. Like, while it is a true story, the director and everyone involved in making this movie clearly tried to be creative with some parts. Like, specifically, whenever Brian is hearing voices or, I don't know, just hallucinating, I guess. They didn't ever really say what his whole deal was, I don't think. Because they said right before the credits that Brian had been probably diagnosed, but they didn't say what it was with. But anyway, yeah, that 2001 Space Odyssey scene, that was weird. I was seriously thinking they were just going to end the movie the same way 2001 A Space Odyssey ends. I don't know if I would have thought that was ridiculous. I mean, clearly I would have thought it was ridiculous, but I think I might have loved that if they did that, because it's just so ridiculous that it's like, where did that even come from? If they just ended the movie like that, it's clearly an homage to 2001: A Space Odyssey. The way it is now, it might be a coincidence. It probably is. I'm just seeing it as 2001: A Space Odyssey. But to me, it's like, it shows older Brian, John Cusack, and then he looks forward at Paul Dano Brian, and then it shows back to the bed, and it's him as a kid, which they hadn't even shown in the movie. So to me, it's like, this is 2001: A Space Odyssey. What's going on? He's aging in reverse. He's going to end up in space. But yeah, that's the thing I wanted to say the spoiler warning for, was just for that scene. Also, I just wanted to appreciate the scene where Paul Giamatti gets served the court summons and then he just goes apeshit in the car dealership. That was top notch. Paul Giamatti at his best. Just going apeshit. That's why I want Big Fat Liar 2. That right there. I was just losing it at that scene. That was just hilarious. I know it wasn't meant to be, but like, she opens the door. He's like, I know you're in there. And she opens the door and he's like, okay. It's like that one gif from like Futurama or The Simpsons or something where the two dogs are on two chains, as if they're like, if they weren't on the chains, they would totally mess the other one up, and then the two chains break and they're just like, yeah, okay, you learned your lesson. They just walk away. I don't know, I'm describing it bad, but I'd probably put it on screen. Sorry, that was probably kind of silly, but that's just what that reminded me of. I just love that scene. I guess this has gone on long enough, so I guess that's really all I'll say about this movie. And tomorrow I might see Trolls. Okay.